I have here DT48Es, 200 ohms. Bought these off eBay from very awesome, nice guy, nice guy. Had these in storage basically for many years. Used to mix with them. Um, DT48s. These models have a very interesting history. They were used to spy and monitor communications during World War II from the Axis powers, German powers. And these are the first dynamic headphones. Besides that, I don't know anything else about them. I don't know the frequency response. I don't know anything besides the fact that these are 200 ohm headphones. That's about it. AUMKARCHANDAN. Amkar Chandan or Candon. He's a audiophile YouTuber. He hasn't been making any content recently, but he did a review on the DT48As, and he also did a historical video on the DT48s in general. And basically, yeah, most of the info I know about the phones are just stuff that he said or things on forums that have been said already. But yeah, for me, a little casual look at them, casual review of them. I have to say that these are probably one of the most comfortable headphones you're going to ever wear. Over here is a set of DT770 Pros. The material that Beyerdynamic chooses for anything, I find has been it's just amazing. I don't know why. I don't know why. It could be a mixture of things. Maybe it's just the choice of the pleather or leather or just the thickness and the padding. But design philosophies completely different. The 770 Pros, um, and the 880s and 990s, and so on and so forth, like the newer models, are very similar to the Sony design, where it's reliant on the padding, or the head strap to hoist and hold it in place, the cans. And then the clamping force is not too relevant because it's going to be using the strap, utilizing that a lot to hold it up. These headphones don't follow that design philosophy. It actually does require the clamping force. It's very reliant on the clamping force. And you'd think that these are tight, especially from just looking at them at a standstill. You'd think that these are such a tight kind of headphone. And if I put these on, just to recall that feeling, it definitely does feel very tight. But it's like a nice, comfortable hug. It's not like you're wearing headphones. No, it's like I'm wearing headphones. Nice, you know? The clamping force is tight, though. It's very strong, and I can actually imagine if you were to find gel pads to fit these things, you'd get a good seal. You would get a good seal. The seal, like with the stock pads, they're not the best. Some sound can come through, but it could be just a way that I have them adjusted, which is I have not adjusted them. They're just a stock form uh, that they were since they came to me. But I haven't really broken in the pads, and I have a feeling that probably breaking in the pads might help with the comfort factor. In terms of the build quality, everything metal. The only thing that is not metal is the actual cup that holds the pads. The inside of the driver is also just right there. It's plastic, like the cover or whatever. Um, then there's also this little plastic here on the inside of the strap sandwiched in between the two metal parts. One is the band itself, and one connects to a little L shaped piece of metal that connects to the hanger. Um, it's a very similar design to, like, if you've ever seen a Shure SM7B yoke taken apart. Just metal, plastic metal, allows there to be movement, but it's not going to be metal on metal grinding and making a mess. So a little bit of longevity in its design, and they had a really good feeling that some things could go wrong with this, and they, I guess, tried to work out a few of those nuances. Um, there's not only 48s, and I've mentioned that. There's 48As, there's 48Es, which is the ones I have, the 200 ohm version, and also the 48Ss, which is the 24 ohm version. I think it's like a special edition or something like that. Or I don't really know. Something. 48S's. 48As though. Those are the ones you want. The 48As are like audiometric headphones. They're basically they're as flat as you can possibly get. And again, the whole point of their design, again, the first dynamic headphones was to monitor vocals and voice. And that's something about the sound that is very interesting, is that when you start to listen to certain songs, vocals pop out. They pop out, but also there's no bass. There is no bass response on these at all. It's like a huge roll off somewhere. I don't know where. It's somewhere, but you definitely don't feel it with these compared to 770s. Look at this. Look at the graph for the 770s. It's flat. Everything's flat, and it's got that sparkle. Apparently, all Beyerdynamic headphones have the sparkle at the top end that it's kind of piercing that not a lot of people like. It's basically that for these two. But we're talking headphones from the 70s. And headphones from like 2015 or so, I think. These still sound crazy. They punch way above their weight class, especially for their age. 200 ohms doesn't feel like it. It doesn't sound like it. I use a Scarlett 2i2 3rd gen for audio recording, but also for listening to music, because currently I don't have a DAC or a headphone amp. I have here K240 Studios and also a set of K240 monitors. The monitors are 600 ohm headphones, and these are 55. But the thing is, max out on these, you're not going to get shit. You're not going to get any sound. Max out on these, and also you're going to get enough sound. But to get like good sound coming out of these, the most adequate volume is to dial in the knob at around like just past 12 o'clock. These can be at 12. A little bit before, and they're going to be fine. And again, I have to think that it has to deal with the clamping force and the design, and also the fact that the driver is like right there. That's the driver. And it's like right by your ear. It is super crazy. I have to mention this. I have a LG G6 Android phone. Now, what's really interesting about these models is that they are the first models to have a 4 DAC designed from LG. It's supposed to just know that it's a dynamic DAC, so basically digital audio codec or whatever. And the amplifier, okay, that comes with the phone, can support up to 600 ohms. So you can have 600 ohm listening on LG 6s and onward. The only thing is, this is not the Korean version or something. I think it's only the Korean version of the LG 6 that had it. So I don't even have that. And I can listen to some YouTube and music from Spotify with this. It terminates into a 3.5 millimeter plug that you can unscrew the 1/4 inch adapter from. Plug it right in, I can listen to it fine. Good stuff. A lot more easier than using the Studios, which is at 55 ohms. Again, it could be designed. These are closed back. Those are open, well, semi-open headphones, but these are easy to drive. Easy, in my experience. Easy so far. The cable comes out, terminates into like this Y cable. Then it comes into like this little, I don't know what this even is. But this brings in those two left and right channels and brings into a stereo cable. Now, the one thing that's kind of concerned me on my model, on my cans, is that the cables are completely different. And I don't know if you can actually see that. But I tried to show this on the previous recording of this, but no luck, yeah. Just know that these are thinner, and they're serrated, and they're tough. They feel like old cables. But they're durable, and there's a lot of confidence touching this thing. Like, it's not going to break on me easily. Maybe don't yank on it, but there's some confidence in there. And then you got this coiled cable, which, again, this is what makes me curious of whether or not these are actually serviced during its time, or or if this is a later model. Because the DT48s were recently discontinued. And I've never seen a new version. Maybe it was only sold in Germany. But a new version of these, because apparently these were still made and whatever, and then they were stopped, and the design hasn't changed since. So I'm going to assume that it was probably, again, the later model, the DT48Es that were continued, and then finally the end of their run happened like in the late 2010 or like early 2010s. But they still make the pads. They still make the pads, the most comfortable pads I've ever felt. There's two materials in the pads, something that's very interesting to note. So if you look inside there, there's like this little inner part, and then there's also like the leather part that wraps around your ear and touches your actual head. Now, what's interesting about the design is that it follows the same kind of design as like this kind of like, it's the Beyerdynamic DT 770, 880, whatever pads, where they kind of like contour inward. It does that, but then also, again, it's got that leather inside part, and they're not two separate parts, it's one full pad. So you have here a pad that sits on your ear, and then it goes in, and then it comes out again and protrudes a little bit before having this little hole terminating so that you can see the driver. The driver's free. And that leather that leads towards that opening is a different material altogether, and it feels a little bit more delicate. Not softer, it feels tighter in there, but a lot more delicate compared to what feels like that industrial feeling of the actual pads. Yeah, at 11 minutes, eh? I'm trying to make these things really, really short because I know I talk too much. But yeah, if you're going to find a pair of these, typically the bad things that you're going to have to look for is, first off, yes, is the cable. That's always how it is. Also, the end part that plugs in. That's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if this is the original cable. It probably isn't. I'm going to probably assume it isn't. Because oxidation can happen, and just like my DRS5s, they're not really in the best working order. Oxidation on the hangers is also very common. Also on the inside here, oxidation can happen there too. The nuts. These I know for sure are original. Like just looking at how there's like a lack of sheen everywhere on the headphone. Thanks for not focusing, camera. I gotta say that these are probably the original locking nuts as well. The plastic on the side here that is sandwiched in between the hanger like mount and then also the strap mount part, that has a tendency to be piss yellow, which is kind of similar to what's going on with the edges of mine. But the way that these look these are just really in such good shape. The only thing that was really bad that was starting to happen that I saw common on other models was the leather on the strap right at the end starting to peel away right there. It has a tendency to split. So watch out for those two parts. Also the pads, I think that's a very common thing with older cans, is also watch out for the pads being a little bit worn in. But man, I can't wait. I don't know if I already mentioned this. I'm probably like so many things I want to talk about. But I was able to find 48S's and 48A's that were in good condition, and I'll be doing a comparison very soon. I don't think I mentioned this as well. I am so forgetful, but I listen to most of my sources on Spotify. So the typical songs that I listen to is Michael Jackson's Rock With You, Yu-Atsu, Slow, some songs from Home, like Resonance, and then also Sunray, San Francisco Street. Again, piercing. No bass. Flat. Dry. Has no character. But the key signature is very unique, and it's something that when I listen to like the Sonys, or I listen to the 770s, the DT770s, or the AKG K240s, the monitors, or the studio version. The only thing that I have to say that these things probably are kind of lacking is just soundstage. It is a little bit narrow, but it's not too narrow. And they do a good job considering that it's a closed back headphone. I mean, even the 770s have such a interesting sound to them, even though that they are closed back headphones. They sound open. These don't sound too open. They don't sound too open at all. But you'll feel like it's piercing at the optimal level. If you dial it back, listen a little bit with it, and you start to raise the level, because that's what I did. I put it at the right level that I thought was going to be good for these. And then I was like, that hurts my ears. It's disturbing. I dial it back. I listen a little bit more. I hear Michael Jackson's voice, and I start to pull it up a little. And then I forget that the truth that these are trying to portray is super duper believable. I think that's the best way to word it. It's believable. I love how these feel. I love how these sound. Takes some getting used to, and again, it's not going to be for everyone. But the 48As are something I'm going to be looking very forward to. Again, they're like 5 ohms. Oh my god, easy to drive. And then the DT48Ss are 24 ohms. So I'm kind of curious how they compare to the 200 ohm DT48Es. Again, from what I've read, the 48As are the ones that you want. They're the more better model. But hey, these headphones, oh, super good. Beyerdynamic does really good with material choice, with the design, with sound. Again, basically the first dynamic headphones. So, thanks for watching this review. Casual review, just some guy talking to himself, you know. I'll be making another video hopefully for other headphones, and then also talking about these, and yeah, can't wait to talk about these again, but also with its 2 other brothers. So thanks for watching. Goodbyes.